There's a reason you're still broke, and it has nothing to do with how hard you work. While you've been taught that fairness, honesty, and grinding will set you free, the wealthy have been playing an entirely different game, one where money doesn't reward the virtuous, but the strategic. They've weaponized silence while you've been screaming for attention. They've mastered invisibility while you've made yourself an open book. The brutal truth: you've been engineered to stay exactly where you are, predictable, controllable, and profitable for someone else. What I'm about to reveal isn't motivational noise or recycled success principles. This is the forbidden architecture of wealth accumulation that separates predators from prey in the economic food chain. And once you see it, you can never unsee it. Let's start with the first weapon most people never recognize: silence. Not the awkward kind that fills dead air, but the weaponized variety that extracts information, exposes desperation, and positions you as the one holding power. Research from Harvard's negotiation studies reveals that the party who speaks first in a negotiation loses an average of 18% of potential value. Why? Because silence creates psychological pressure that forces others to reveal their hand, their limits, their fears. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago when he wrote that the first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. But the deeper wisdom is that silence allows you to evaluate others while revealing nothing of yourself. When someone makes you an offer and you simply wait, they start negotiating against themselves. They fill the void with justifications, better terms, concessions you never even asked for. Silence transforms you from someone chasing opportunity into someone opportunity chases. It's the difference between prey announcing its location and a predator moving unseen through tall grass. But here's where it gets darker. The wealthy don't just use silence in conversations, they apply it to their entire existence. While you've been broadcasting every move, every plan, every victory on social media, they've been becoming ghosts, unreadable, unpredictable. The moment people can read you, they can control you. They know when you're desperate, when you're bluffing, when you're weak. Morgan Stanley's Behavioral Economics division found that predictable patterns in business dealings reduce negotiating power by up to 40%. The rich understand something primal. In a world where everyone is screaming for attention, invisibility becomes the ultimate advantage. They've learned to smile without revealing intent, to move without announcing. G direction. And while you've been making yourself visible, they've been making themselves untouchable. But most people will never master this because they're addicted to something far more dangerous than visibility itself. Impatience. That's the addiction that keeps you broke. While the wealthy sit in calculated stillness, waiting for markets to panic and opportunities to ripen, you're jumping at every shiny object, every limited time offer, every fear of missing out trap designed to extract money from your pocket. Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway holds an average investment for 10+ years, while the average retail investor holds a stock for just 10 months according to NYSE data. That's not a difference in strategy. It's a difference in species. Predators wait. They watch the herd panic, scatter, and expose weakness. Then they strike with precision. The poor see an opportunity and lunge immediately, revealing desperation. The rich see the same opportunity and ask, "What happens if I wait?" Time becomes their weapon. Patience isn't passive. It's predatory. It's understanding that desperation has a smell, and those who can afford to wait can smell it on those who can't. As Machiavelli warned in The Prince, "He who has not first laid his foundations may be able with great ability to lay them afterwards, but they will be laid with trouble to the architect and danger to the building." The wealthy lay foundations in silence and patience, not panic and haste. But here's the truth they'll never tell you in business school. Wealth isn't earned through fairness or merit. It's taken through leverage and positioning. While you're trading hours for dollars, trapped in the linear prison of effort equals reward, the wealthy have built systems where other people's time, money, and labor flow upward to them. A 2023 Oxfam report revealed that the richest 1% captured nearly twice as much new wealth as the rest of the world combined over the past decade. This isn't luck, this isn't talent, this is architectural design, creating gravity wells where value has no choice but to flow toward you. And the mechanism they use to make this happen is something most people mistake for storytelling. Narrative control. This is the invisible hand that moves billions of dollars while you're busy arguing about facts. The wealthy don't sell products. They sell belief systems. They don't compete on logic. They compete on mythology. Apple doesn't sell you a phone. They sell you identity, rebellion, creativity. Tesla doesn't sell cars. They sell salvation from climate apocalypse and membership in the future. Nike doesn't sell shoes. They sell transformation and victory. According to a Stanford Persuasion research study, narratives are up to 22 times more memorable than facts alone, and consumers will pay a 20 to 40% premium for products wrapped in compelling stories. The rich understand something the broke will never grasp. Humans don't make decisions based on reality. They make decisions based on the story they believe about reality. Money doesn't follow truth. Money follows belief, and whoever controls the narrative controls the flow of wealth. Machiavelli knew this when he wrote, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few really know what you are." Look at cryptocurrency. Billions of dollars trading hands over digital tokens that have no intrinsic value beyond the collective narrative that they do. Look at luxury brands charging 10,000% markups on bags and watches because the story of exclusivity and status creates value from thin air. The same psychological mechanism that built religions, toppled governments, and started wars is now being weaponized in every market, every transaction, every pitch. Robert Cialdini's research on influence and persuasion demonstrates that social proof and storytelling trigger automatic compliance in up to 95% of people under the right conditions. The masses follow the narrative like a school of fish following movement in the water, unconscious, automatic, predictable. And while they're swimming in formation, the architects of these narratives are positioned at the choke points, extracting value from every transaction that flows through their constructed reality. But narrative alone isn't enough. Because the price of this power, the cost of constructing these gravity wells of wealth, demands something most people will never willingly surrender. It demands the very thing that makes you comfortable, that makes you feel human, that makes you believe you're different from the predators. And that price is steeper than most people can imagine. Comfort. That's the ransom wealth demands, and it's a price the broke refuse to pay. While you're scrolling through entertainment, sleeping in, choosing the easy path, the wealthy are in what Navy SEAL training calls the comfort zone of discomfort, a state where pain becomes baseline and discipline becomes identity. A University of Pennsylvania study on self-control found that individuals with high discipline scores earned 32% more over their lifetime and accumulated 58% more wealth than their equally intelligent but less disciplined peers. This isn't about working harder. It's about bending your biology to serve your ambition instead of your impulses. The poor choose immediate gratification and call it self-care. The rich delay gratification and call it investment. One group optimizes for feeling good today, the other optimizes for owning tomorrow. Machiavelli observed that where the willingness is great, the difficulties cannot be great. But he also understood that most men lack this willingness entirely, preferring comfortable slavery to uncomfortable freedom. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. Wealth doesn't care about your morality. The most successful operators understand that rigid ethics are a luxury of the comfortable, not a strategy of the ambitious. This doesn't mean becoming evil. It means understanding that the game has no referee, no cosmic justice, no fairness doctrine. Jeff Bezos didn't build Amazon by worrying about disrupting bookstores. Rockefeller didn't create Standard Oil by playing nice with competitors. Machiavelli wrote in The Prince that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both, because he understood power dynamics strip away pretense. He further stated, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present." The wealthy walk a razor's edge, maintaining enough social acceptability to operate while being ruthless enough to win. They've learned to compartmentalize, to separate personal values from strategic decisions, to smile while tightening the grip. This evolution from comfortable to disciplined, from moral rigidity to strategic flexibility, this is the metamorphosis that separates those who wish for wealth from those who take it. But even discipline and narrative mastery mean nothing if you're still operating under the most dangerous delusion of poverty, the belief that your own labor is your path to freedom. That illusion must be shattered next. The poor trade hours for dollars. The rich trade ideas for empires. This is the law of substitution, and it's the reason why a man working 80-hour weeks in a factory will never catch a hedge fund manager working 40. It's not about effort, it's about what you're substituting for what. Every hour you spend doing the work yourself is an hour you're not spending designing systems where others do the work for you. Henry Ford didn't build cars. He built a system where thousands of workers built cars while he extracted the value. Sam Walton didn't stock shelves at Walmart. He created a machine that made millions of people stock shelves while he owned the infrastructure. According to a McKinsey analysis on wealth creation, 80% of billionaire wealth comes from equity ownership and systems leverage, not personal labor. The moment you accept a job, you've already lost. You've agreed to be the horse pulling someone else's cart. You've substituted your potential for their profit. Machiavelli understood this principle of leverage when he wrote, "Never attempt to win by force what can be won by deception," meaning the smartest path to power is through systems and positioning, not through direct labor and force. But here's the deeper game. The wealthy don't just substitute labor, they substitute reality itself with illusion. People don't buy what something is, they buy what they believe it is. A diamond is compressed carbon, yet engagement rings command $5,000 because De Beers spent decades building the illusion that diamonds equal love and commitment. A supreme brick sold for $1,000, literally just a red brick with a logo, because Supreme mastered the illusion of scarcity and cultural capital. Bottled water companies convinced people to pay 2,000 times more for something that comes free from the tap by creating illusions of purity, health, and status. The entire luxury goods market, worth $354 billion according to Bain Company, exists not because products are objectively better, but because illusions are effectively maintained. The rich don't compete in reality, they compete in perception. They understand that appearances are power and illusions are currency. While you're trying to build real value, they're painting mirages that extract real money. Machiavelli captured this perfectly. Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. And if you think illusions sound unethical, wait until you understand what they actually call this process. Exploitation. That word makes you uncomfortable, doesn't it? You've been conditioned to see it as evil, as something villains do, but the wealthy have redefined it as something neutral, identifying and capturing unused value. Every inefficiency in a market is exploitation waiting to happen. Every moment of fear, panic, or ignorance is an opportunity to extract value from those who don't see what you see. Real estate investors don't create housing. They exploit information asymmetry and capital access to buy low and sell high, extracting wealth from both ends. Venture capitalists don't build companies. They exploit founder desperation and timing windows to own equity at pennies on the dollar before exit valuations explode. According to Harvard Business Review research on private equity, the average buyout fund returns 22% annually by exploiting operational inefficiencies and market mispricing, essentially professional exploitation at institutional scale. This is what Machiavelli meant when he said, "Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims for his deceptions." The broke see exploitation and recoil. The rich see exploitation and ask, how do I position myself to be the exploiter instead of the exploited? Because here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. If you're not exploiting, someone is exploiting you. Every transaction has a winner and a loser. Every negotiation has someone who captured more value. Every market has predators and prey. Your grocery store exploits supply chain inefficiencies to mark up products 40%. Your bank exploits information complexity to bury fees in fine print. Your employer exploits your need for stability to pay you a fraction of the value you generate. The entire economic system is layers of exploitation stacked on top of each other, and your moral objection to participating does not make you noble. It makes you the resource being extracted. Machiavelli warned, whoever desires to found a state and give it laws must start with assuming that all men are bad and ever ready to display their vicious nature. The wealthy operate from this assumption, not from naive hope about human goodness. But even exploitation has limits. Even predators know there's one weapon more powerful than taking everything. It's taking almost everything while making them beg for more. And that weapon is called... Before I reveal this final weapon, understand something. You've already crossed a line most people never approach. You're still here, absorbing truths that make others uncomfortable, seeing patterns the herd refuses to acknowledge. If this knowledge resonates with something dark and hungry inside you, then subscribe to Curiosity to Wisdom right now. Because what comes next isn't for the morally rigid or the comfortably numb. It's for those ready to see the complete arsenal and learn how predators actually move through the marketplace unseen. The choice is yours. Stay where you are or cross into territory where there's no going back. Withholding. The most sophisticated operators never reveal everything, not because they're secretive by nature, but because partial disclosure creates something complete transparency never can: dependence. When people have 70% of what they need from you, they keep coming back for the remaining 30%. Tech companies call this feature gating. Drug dealers call it the first hits free. Psychologists call it variable ratio reinforcement, the same mechanism that makes slot machines addictive. A Princeton study on information economics found that individuals who strategically withheld key information in negotiations achieved 34% better outcomes than those who disclosed fully, because withholding creates perceived value and mystique. The moment you lay all your cards on the table, you've lost negotiating power. You've become predictable, readable, controllable. But when you hold something back, a skill, a connection, a piece of knowledge, you become necessary, irreplaceable, magnetic. Machiavelli understood this when he advised, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally," meaning strategic withholding is wisdom, while full disclosure is foolishness. The wealthy have mastered this across every domain. They don't share their full strategy, their complete network, or their actual financials. Warren Buffett releases annual letters with insights, but never the complete playbook. Luxury brands never fully satisfy demand because scarcity maintains mystique and premium pricing. Even in personal relationships, the most influential people maintain an edge of mystery, never fully exposing their depths. Exposure is vulnerability. The person who reveals everything has nothing left to trade. But the person who strategically withholds, they've created an asset out of absence itself. They've turned what you don't know into currency more valuable than what you do. This is how ISOs command retainers, how consultants justify six-figure fees, how influencers maintain followings by always promising there's another level, another secret, another piece of wisdom just beyond reach. As Machiavelli wrote, "He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command," and commanding requires maintaining the mystique of superior knowledge. Now you have the complete arsenal: silence, unreadability, patience, leverage, narrative, substitution, illusion, exploitation, and withholding. 9 weapons that separate predators from prey. But knowing the weapons means nothing if you don't understand how they synthesize into something far more dangerous: a complete identity shift. This isn't about learning tactics. It's about evolutionary transformation from prey to predator, from reactive to strategic, from visible to phantom. When you walk into a room now, you're not participating in conversations. You're collecting data through silence. You're not reacting to offers. You're watching desperation reveal itself through patience. You're not competing on features. You're constructing narratives that make competition irrelevant. Every interaction becomes a chess game where you see 3 moves ahead because you've weaponized principles most people don't know exist. According to research from MIT's Sloan School of Management on strategic thinking, individuals who operate from frameworks rather than instinct make decisions 47% faster and achieve outcomes 31% more favorable because they're playing a different game entirely. You've stopped being a player in someone else's system and started architecting your own. Machiavelli's ultimate lesson echoes here. It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. You've transcended seeking validation from systems and started creating the systems themselves. In daily operations, this looks like silence during negotiations while others fill voids with concessions. It looks like maintaining mystery in relationships while others desperately seek validation through oversharing. It looks like selling transformations and identities while competitors sell products and features. It looks like exploiting market fear during crashes while the herd panics and sells. It looks like building systems where money flows to you while others trade time for paychecks. You've developed X-ray vision for the marketplace, seeing the invisible architecture of wealth that was always there, but only visible to those who've trained their eyes to perceive it. The MIT research also reveals that strategic operators experience 40% less stress in high-stakes situations because they've transcended emotional reaction and entered pure calculation. This is the final evolution. You're no longer someone hoping the system works in your favor. You're someone who understands the system is designed to extract from the many and concentrate into the few, and you've chosen which side of that equation you'll occupy. The wealthy move unseen while others react to shadows. They bend narratives while others argue about facts. They extract value while others create it. You now see the machinery. The question is, will you have the discipline to operate it, or will you retreat back into the comfortable delusion that fairness and hard work alone will set you free? Machiavelli's final warning rings eternal. Men are driven by 2 principal impulses, either by love or by fear. And you must now choose whether you'll be driven by the love of comfort or the fear of remaining prey forever. Because once you've seen how wealth actually moves, ignorance is no longer an option, only choice remains.